Life in Chile. Banned SX laws, Nudist beaches, and alluring women exposed. Imagine a country where stunning beaches aren't the only thing that will take your breath away. What if I told you that Chile, a land stretching from the driest desert in the world to icy southern glaciers, is also home to some of the most bizarre and shocking laws you've ever heard of? It is a country where beauty isn't just skin deep, but ingrained in every part of its culture, from the mesmerizing landscapes to the unexpected legalities that have shaped its society for generations. Chile is a place that challenges everything you thought you knew about freedom, relationships, and public life. This isn't your usual tourist spot where you can just relax on the beach and forget about the world. No, in Chile, everything from the women's bold fashion to the controversial sexual conduct laws will make you stop and think. Let me take you behind the scenes of a place where laws are as unpredictable as the wild landscapes, and beauty doesn't just stay in the eye of the beholder. This is Chile, where the most stunning coastlines and alluring women are only the beginning of a much deeper story. Keep watching to see what really lies beneath the surface. Chile is a country full of surprises. Its beauty isn't just found in the stunning landscapes, but also in the shocking laws that have made headlines worldwide. Did you know that Chile has some of the most progressive and sometimes controversial laws in Latin America? For example, certain intimate relationships that would be completely acceptable elsewhere have been legal only recently, making this country one of the most interesting and at times puzzling places to visit. But beyond the laws, there's the undeniable charm of Chile itself. Nestled along the southwestern coast of South America, Chile is the longest country in the world, stretching over 4,300 kilometers. From the Atacama Desert in the north, which is known as the driest place on Earth, to the glaciers of Patagonia in the south, Chile offers some of the most diverse and awe-inspiring landscapes you can imagine. It's a place where the natural beauty leaves a lasting impression, from the rugged mountains to the picturesque coastlines. Speaking of coastlines, Chile's beaches are among the most beautiful in the world, including famous destinations like Viña del Mar and Punta de Lobos. These beaches not only offer a stunning backdrop for relaxation, but also reflect the country's deep connection to the ocean and its maritime history. But what truly makes Chile stand out is its cultural vibrancy. The country is rich in history, filled with lively festivals, a unique mix of indigenous and European traditions, and a strong emphasis on family values. There's a warmth to the people here, and the sense of community is palpable in every town and city you visit. Chileans are proud of their heritage, and you can feel that pride in the music, dance, and food, which often draw from centuries of tradition. Now, let's talk about those controversial laws I mentioned earlier. Chile is a country in transition, and in recent years, many outdated laws have been updated or removed, sparking both excitement and debate. For example, while the country has always had strict regulations regarding sexual conduct, there have been significant changes to these laws, which have ignited a passionate discussion about freedom and privacy. But there's more to it. Did you know that Chile also has restrictions on public nudity? In a world that's growing more liberal, this aspect of Chile's legal system may surprise you. As we dive into this vibrant yet complex country, you'll see that Chile is not just about beautiful beaches and stunning women. It is about a nation grappling with its past and pushing forward into an uncertain but exciting future. Whether it's the lively discussion surrounding its laws or the changing perceptions of intimacy, Chile is a place that constantly challenges its own identity. So, stick with us as we uncover the real story behind Chile's controversial laws, stunning landscapes, and much more. The alluring women of Chile. The women of Chile, graceful, strong, and captivating, leave a lasting impression on everyone who meets them. From their charm to their elegance, it's impossible not to notice the beauty that is so much a part of Chile's identity. However, what makes these women even more intriguing is how beauty plays a massive role in Chilean culture, shaping everything from fashion to relationships and even societal expectations. In Chile, a woman's appearance often says a lot about her identity, her heritage, and her place in a rapidly changing society. Walking down the bustling streets of Santiago, Chile's capital, you can help but be struck by the confidence and style of the women you pass by. Chilean women have a unique, natural beauty that mixes both European and indigenous influences, creating a distinct look that's all their own. The women here take pride in their appearance, and it shows in everything from their fashion choices to their makeup. But beyond their physical attractiveness, there is a deeper story that many don't immediately see. It's the balance these women strike between modern influences and traditional cultural values that makes their story so compelling. In Chile, beauty standards are deeply embedded in society. The media, fashion industry, and even family expectations often play a role in defining what it means to be beautiful. However, this definition of beauty is slowly changing, especially among the younger generation of Chilean women. These women are challenging old stereotypes while embracing a more inclusive and diverse idea of beauty. It's not just about having a slim figure or long, flowing hair anymore. Today's Chilean women are showing that beauty comes in many shapes, sizes, and forms. The rise of social media has further pushed this transformation, with women using platforms like Instagram and TikTok to showcase different versions of beauty and gain recognition for their individuality. But despite these shifts, there's still a strong connection to tradition. Chilean women continue to value family and community, and their roles within these institutions are crucial. Family ties are deeply cherished in Chilean society, and women are often seen as the backbone of family life. From being mothers to caretakers and caregivers, women in Chile still carry a significant portion of the responsibility when it comes to maintaining family bonds and passing down cultural values. This isn't always an easy task, as modern Chile is a country that is growing rapidly, with shifting norms and expectations. As Chile's economy and society continue to evolve, women are finding themselves balancing traditional roles with new opportunities in the workforce and beyond. One of the most fascinating aspects of Chilean women is their growing presence in the workforce. Over the last few decades, women have become increasingly influential in the professional world. The country's economy, which was once more centered around industries like agriculture and mining, has diversified, and with that diversification has come new opportunities for women to break into previously male-dominated fields. From technology to business, women are now climbing the ranks and proving that their place is in the boardroom just as much as it is in the home. Yet, even as women rise professionally, they are still expected to maintain traditional roles in the family, making it difficult to balance the demands of work and home life. Many women here still carry the weight of being primary caregivers for children and elderly family members, even as they pursue their careers. This creates a complex dynamic in which women are expected to succeed in both their professional and domestic lives, a challenge that many are rising to meet with grace and determination. While Chilean women are undeniably strong and resilient, they are also subjected to certain pressures and expectations from society. Despite the growing emphasis on equality and empowerment, there are still traces of a patriarchal culture that can be found in many aspects of life. For example, although women have gained significant ground in politics and business, gender equality is still a work in progress. Women in Chile continue to fight for equal pay, equal opportunities, and recognition in a country where machismo has been ingrained in the culture for generations. This doesn't stop Chilean women, however, from making their mark in every corner of the world. The rise of women AS movements in Chile has brought a significant shift in societal attitudes toward women's rights. Chile has seen mass protests and movements led by women who are demanding equal rights, better pay, and an end to violence against women. These movements, especially the feminist movement, have gained significant momentum in recent years. Chilean women are now standing up and using their voices to push for systemic change in politics, education, and society. The success of these movements speaks volumes about the strength and perseverance of Chilean women, who continue to challenge societal norms in their quest for equality. Dating culture in Chile, like many aspects of Chilean society, is also undergoing a transformation. While traditional gender roles are still present, there is a growing trend of women seeking out relationships based on equality, respect, and shared goals. Men and women are beginning to see each other as equal partners, with both contributing to the success of the relationship, whether that be in work, raising children, or handling household responsibilities. This shift in attitudes towards relationships is an important part of the ongoing transformation of gender dynamics in Chile. Chile is a country full of contrasts, where traditional values coexist with progressive changes. The women of Chile embody this duality perfectly. They are beautiful, strong, and independent, yet still deeply rooted in their cultural traditions. Their journey to empowerment is ongoing, and though there are many challenges ahead, Chilean women are undoubtedly on the path to greater freedom, equality, and recognition. As they continue to break barriers in the workforce, in politics, and in their personal lives, these women are paving the way for future generations. And in doing so, they are not just redefining beauty, they are redefining what it means to be a woman in Chile. The women of Chile are much more than just a symbol of beauty. They are strong, resilient, and unafraid to challenge the traditional expectations placed upon them. As Chile continues to evolve, so too does the role of women in shaping the country's future. Whether it's in the workforce, in relationships, or in the fight for equality, the women of Chile are proving that they are a force to be reckoned with. The banned sexual conduct laws. What's going on? In Chile, there are laws that may seem absolutely bizarre to outsiders. Laws that regulate sexual relationships and conduct in ways that are hard to believe, especially in the modern world. While Chile has made significant strides in terms of social progress and human rights, it wasn't that long ago that these laws had a hold on the country, and for many they seemed outdated, even shocking. What's most surprising is that many of these laws have only recently been banned, revealing the complexities of how law and tradition shape society, even in a country that is often seen as progressive. The legalities surrounding certain sexual acts have been deeply ingrained in Chilean society for generations. Historically, Chile's laws were heavily influenced by Catholicism and conservative family values. The Church's teachings, which have long been at the heart of Chile's moral and social structure, played a significant role in shaping the country's legal views on relationships and intimacy. Acts that are now legal in many parts of the world, such as certain forms of consensual sex and public expressions of sexuality, were once considered crimes in Chile, punishable by law. These laws were rooted in the idea of morality, based on a rigid interpretation of what was acceptable behavior. For years, this conservative stance dictated the way people lived and loved, and it had a profound impact on the freedom of expression in sexual matters. One of the most controversial aspects of Chile's legal history involves laws around sexual conduct. The country had strict rules governing sexuality, many of which were based on outdated notions of decency and control. These laws restricted intimate relationships, often criminalizing behaviors that involved consensual acts between adults. For example, acts like adultery and same-sex relationships were not only frowned upon, they were illegal. These laws were used to control sexual behavior and, in many cases, to regulate the morality of individuals, particularly in the context of marriage and family. As a result, sexual freedom was heavily restricted, and many Chileans lived in fear of being caught in the web of these laws, which could lead to public shaming, criminal charges, or social exclusion. The idea that a person's sexual behavior could be subject to legal oversight, particularly when it came to acts between consenting adults, was foreign to many. But for Chileans, this was the reality for decades. In fact, the legal landscape around sexual conduct in Chile wasn't significantly reformed until recently. In the early 2000s, certain laws were still in place, limiting people's freedom to express their sexuality openly. It was only after years of social pressure, protests, and changing political landscapes that Chile began to rethink its laws surrounding intimacy and relationships. Let us pause for a moment and look at a personal anecdote that sheds light on how these laws affected everyday Chileans. I spoke to Anna, a Chilean woman in her early 30s, who shared her perspective on the impact of these laws. Anna, who grew up in Santiago, vividly remembers the oppressive environment created by these outdated laws. Growing up, I was taught that certain things were just not okay, she explained. Even as a teenager, I knew that discussing anything related to sex was considered taboo. My friends and I were constantly worried about what we could and couldn't do. For a long time, I didn't even know what was legal, and that made it harder to navigate relationships. Anna's story highlights the deep psychological impact that these laws had on generations of Chileans, particularly women, who often found themselves in situations where their sexual agency was controlled or limited by outdated legal systems. This pervasive sense of restriction went beyond the legal realm. It seeped into everyday life, shaping how people thought about love, intimacy, and personal freedom. The pressure to conform to conservative norms created an environment where people were afraid to express their true desires or seek information about sexual health and relationships. The fear of being judged or even punished for their personal choices kept many Chileans in the dark about their own sexual rights and responsibilities. The good news, however, is that Chile has begun to move forward in recent years. After decades of legal battles, Chile finally started to decriminalize certain sexual acts and lift restrictions that once seemed impossible to challenge. The turning point came in the 1990s and early 2000s as Chile transitioned from a military dictatorship to a democracy, and with it came significant social and political reforms. In 1998, Chile passed a law that decriminalized adultery, and in 2010, same-sex relationships were decriminalized. These legal reforms marked the beginning of a new era for sexual freedom in Chile, and over the years, more and more laws were amended or completely repealed. For example, laws that once punished public nudity or certain forms of consensual relationships were eventually revised. Chile also began to embrace gender equality more fully, with legal protections for women's sexual rights and the recognition of same-sex partnerships. These changes didn't happen overnight. There was a significant amount of resistance, particularly from religious groups who argued that such reforms would erode the country's moral fabric. But the voice of the people, especially the younger generation, couldn't be ignored. Protests, activism, and legal challenges helped push forward these reforms, proving that social progress in Chile is possible, even if it takes time. Today, the legal climate in Chile is vastly different from what it was just a few decades ago. The country is slowly but surely catching up with international standards on human rights and sexual freedom. However, the battle is far from over. While the laws have changed, cultural attitudes take longer to shift. Chile is still wrestling with the remnants of its conservative past, and it's clear that there's more work to be done. Many Chileans still live in rural or more conservative areas where traditional values hold more sway, and there are still legal loopholes and limitations that prevent complete freedom when it comes to sexual expression. Nevertheless, the recent changes in Chile's legal framework are a testament to the country's progress. Chile has become a model for other Latin American nations that are grappling with similar issues. What is remarkable about Chile's journey is how quickly these changes came about in the face of long-standing cultural resistance. Chileans are now more open than ever to discussing matters related to sexuality and intimacy, and the country's younger generations are embracing new attitudes about love, relationships, and personal freedoms. So, where does Chile stand today? The country is still transitioning. While it has made great strides, there's still a long road ahead. The impact of the old laws is still felt by many, but as the country continues to modernize, so too does its understanding of sexuality and freedom. The legal battles fought in Chile serve as a reminder of how far we've come and how much further we still have to go to ensure true equality for all. Chile's journey is ongoing, and as society continues to change, the country will undoubtedly face new challenges. But for now, the legal landscape is significantly more inclusive, and the once shocking laws that limited sexual freedom are finally being left behind. The sexual conduct laws in Chile are a reflection of a society that has long struggled with balancing tradition and modernity. The restrictions placed on sexual freedom have had a profound impact on the lives of Chileans, particularly women, and shaped their relationships and perceptions of intimacy. But with the recent changes to these laws, Chile is moving forward into a new era, one where sexual freedom and personal rights are respected, and where the country's progressive future seems brighter than ever. Nudity and public spaces. A new era. Let's move on to a subject that often gets people talking: public nudity and nude beaches. Chile's coastlines host some of the most famous nude beaches in the world, but there's a catch. While the idea of nude beaches might sound liberating to some, it's a much more controversial subject in Chile than in other parts of the world. Nudity, especially in public spaces, has long been a subject of cultural and legal debate in many countries. In Chile, this debate is especially complex, influenced by deep-rooted Catholic values, conservative views on sexuality, and the modern push for more progressive ideals. But recently, Chile is seeing a cultural shift when it comes to public nudity, and it's fascinating to see how the country is navigating this changing landscape. During my time in Chile, I had the opportunity to visit one of the country's most popular nudist beaches, located in the coastal region of Punta de Lobos, near the town of Pichilemu. The first thing that struck me was the natural beauty of the beach. The waves crashed against the shore and the sand stretched out for miles with hardly anyone around. It felt like a perfect escape from the busy world, offering a serene and peaceful environment. What made this experience different from any other beach I've been to was that everyone on the beach was enjoying the sun and the sea, completely naked. At first, I was a bit hesitant. It's not every day you find yourself on a beach where nudity is not only accepted, but encouraged. But as soon as I walked along the shore, I quickly realized how freeing and natural it felt. No one seemed to be concerned with how they looked or who was around. There was no judgment, no competition, just people enjoying the beauty of the surroundings in the most comfortable way possible. It was truly a space where people could be themselves without the pressure of societal expectations. Nudist beaches like the one I visited are not just about stripping off clothing. They represent freedom and self-expression, an opportunity for people to embrace their bodies without the fear of judgment. For locals, these beaches are places to escape the traditional norms and enjoy nature without the restrictions that are often imposed by society. But for tourists, especially those visiting from more liberal countries, these beaches are a chance to experience something unique, an aspect of Chile that remains somewhat hidden beneath the surface. However, Chile's relationship with public nudity is complicated. While many people enjoy the idea of these beaches, there are still cultural and legal barriers to overcome. For a country that is predominantly Catholic, the idea of public nudity goes against many of the values that have been passed down for generations. Catholic teachings, which emphasize modesty and self-control, have shaped the cultural norms around sexuality in Chile. As a result, nudity has often been seen as taboo or inappropriate in public spaces, especially outside of designated areas like private beaches or resorts. Yet, despite this conservative backdrop, Chile is slowly undergoing a cultural shift. In recent years, social movements, particularly among younger generations, have been pushing for greater freedoms, including the acceptance of public nudity as a form of self-expression. Activists and nudist groups in Chile argue that nudity is a natural and harmless part of life, and they are working to change public perceptions and legal regulations surrounding it. They point to the growing number of nudist beaches along the Chilean coast as proof of the changing tide. These beaches, once seen as isolated and even shameful, are now seen as places of openness and acceptance, where the body can be celebrated rather than hidden. One of the key factors driving this shift is the rise of progressive social movements in Chile. In the last few decades, Chile has seen an increasing push for gender equality, sexual rights, and freedom of expression. The country has gone through a dramatic transformation in terms of social policies, particularly around issues like LGBTQ+ rights and reproductive health. Chile legalized same-sex civil unions in 2015 and passed a law to decriminalize abortion in certain cases in 2017. These changes have opened the door for more progressive conversations about public nudity and body freedom. Still, it's important to understand that public nudity remains controversial in Chile, and not everyone is on board with the idea. There is still a strong cultural divide between the older generations, who hold on to traditional values, and the younger, more progressive individuals who are advocating for change. For some Chileans, the thought of walking around naked in public spaces is simply unthinkable. They view it as disrespectful and believe it undermines the moral fabric of society. To others, however, it is a form of liberation, a way to free oneself from the constraints of body image and societal norms. The legal framework surrounding public nudity is equally complicated. While nude beaches are now legal in Chile, there are still many restrictions about where and when nudity is allowed. In public spaces outside of these designated areas, nudity remains a legal gray area, and individuals who are caught naked in public outside of approved zones can face fines or even arrest. The tension between legal regulations and cultural acceptance continues to shape the landscape of public nudity in Chile. The government has had to walk a fine line between respecting the rights of individuals to express themselves freely and maintaining the country as moral and cultural standards. A statistic worth mentioning is that, according to a survey conducted by the Chilean Ministry of Social Development, about 25% of Chileans support the idea of public nudity, with the majority of supporters coming from younger generations. This indicates that while public nudity may still be taboo in some parts of the country, there is a growing acceptance and recognition of the importance of body autonomy and self-expression. As younger Chileans continue to advocate for their rights, the conversation surrounding nudity in public spaces will only become more prevalent in the years to come. The future of nudity and public spaces in Chile will depend largely on how the country's legal system and society continue to evolve. While progress has been made, there is still much work to be done. Changing the cultural mindset will take time, and as with any societal shift, there will be resistance. But the emergence of more nude beaches, the growing presence of nudist groups, and the increasing dialogue around sexual freedom suggests that Chile is moving in the right direction. The country's beautiful coastline and its stunning natural landscapes have become a symbol of freedom, and as attitudes continue to evolve, Chile will likely become a more open and accepting place for all forms of self-expression, including public nudity. Chile's approach to nudity and public spaces is a reflection of the country's ongoing cultural transformation. While public nudity has long been taboo, there is a clear shift towards greater acceptance, especially among younger generations. The rise of nudist beaches, along with the growing influence of progressive movements, is helping to break down old barriers and pave the way for more open discussions about body freedom. However, the path to full acceptance is not without its challenges, and the debate around nudity in public spaces will likely continue for years to come. As Chile's social and legal landscape evolves, so too will the country's attitude toward nudity, making it an interesting space to watch in the future. Chilean beaches, from Santiago to the surprising shores. You've heard of Viña del Mar, but have you experienced the seclusion and beauty of Punta de Lobos? These pristine, untouched beaches offer something completely different: peace and pure natural beauty. While Viña del Mar, with its bustling streets and popular tourist attractions, is undoubtedly famous, Chile's lesser-known beaches offer a completely unique experience for those seeking to escape the crowds and immerse themselves in the country. Chile's wild coastal charm. Chile's coastline is not only long and diverse, but it is also one of the most dramatic in the world, stretching over 4,000 kilometers from the Peruvian border in the north to the southernmost tip of Patagonia. The stunning variety of beaches, each with its own personality and atmosphere, offers visitors a chance to explore everything from relaxing sands to wild surf spots and tranquil hidden coves. The beauty of Chile's beaches cannot be overstated. In places like Punta de Lobos, located just south of Santiago, visitors are greeted with sprawling cliffs, untouched sands, and the rhythmic sound of the ocean waves crashing against the rocks. It feels like you're stepping into another world, far removed from the hectic pace of life in the city. As you walk along the beach, the wide expanse of the Pacific Ocean stretches out before you, its deep blue water shimmering in the sunlight. The air is fresh, crisp, and salty, and the only sounds you hear are the waves and the occasional call of a seabird flying overhead. The solitude of these beaches is both peaceful and humbling, offering a perfect escape from the modern world. While many people flock to the more famous spots like Viña del Mar, there are countless hidden gems scattered along the Chilean coast, known only to locals. One such gem is the beach of Cachagua, a small coastal village tucked away just a little to the north of Valparaiso. Known for its laid-back atmosphere and breathtaking scenery, Cachagua is a place where you can enjoy the beauty of the ocean without the crowds. The beach is lined with towering cliffs, and the small charming village nearby offers fresh seafood and the perfect place to relax with a glass of wine. The town's serenity is what attracts those in search of peace and quiet, away from the loud, tourist-heavy beaches further north. Further down the coast, you'll find the stunning beaches of Pichilemu, a popular destination for surfers due to its consistent waves and surf-friendly climate. The town of Pichilemu, often referred to as the surf capital of Chile, has a youthful energy, with surfers from all over the world gathering to ride the waves. Yet even in Pichilemu, you can find quieter beaches like Playa Hermosa, where the noise of the world fades away, leaving just the sounds of the surf and the wind. It was the perfect place to disconnect and experience Chile's natural beauty in its purest form. Chile's coastline is not just about relaxation and scenic views. It holds a deep historical and economic significance to the country as well. Over the years, the coast has played a vital role in Chile's trade and development, particularly through its ports. Cities like Valparaiso, with its colorful hillside homes and bustling port, have long been centers of commerce, connecting Chile with the rest of the world. For much of the 19th and 20th centuries, Valparaiso was the primary port through which goods flowed in and out of Chile, making it one of the most important cities in the country. This history has shaped much of the country's culture and economy, with the coastlines being at the heart of Chile's commercial expansion. The coast has also long been a key area for fishing, which remains one of Chile's most important industries today. The vast waters of the Pacific have provided the country with a wealth of marine life, including fish, shellfish, and seaweed, which are exported around the world. Fishing villages dot the coast, where locals work hard to catch and process the country's marine resources. The importance of the sea in the lives of Chileans cannot be overstated, and many coastal communities are deeply tied to the rhythms of the ocean. In addition to its economic importance, Chile's coastlines are also ecologically vital. From the cold, nutrient-rich waters of the south to the warmer, calmer seas of the north, the coastline supports an incredible variety of marine life. The waters off the coast of Chile are home to a wealth of biodiversity, including seals, sea lions, and various whale species that migrate through the region. The coast also plays a crucial role in the health of the planet's oceans, as it is a key area for marine conservation and research. Unfortunately, like many coastal areas around the world, Chile's beaches are facing environmental challenges. Pollution, overfishing, and the impacts of climate change are threatening the delicate ecosystems that make Chile's coast so special. Rising sea levels, for example, pose a significant threat to the coastline, eroding beaches and threatening to destroy habitats for local wildlife. Despite these challenges, efforts are underway to protect Chile's beaches and marine life through conservation programs and environmental initiatives. Many local communities, along with national and international organizations, are working to preserve these beautiful spaces for future generations to enjoy. But beyond the environmental and historical significance, what truly sets Chile's beaches apart is the sense of freedom they offer. The beauty of these shores is not just in their landscapes, but in the way they invite you to experience them. Whether you're lounging on a secluded beach with a book, taking a surf lesson in Pichilemu, or enjoying the fresh seafood in a coastal town, Chile's beaches provide the ultimate escape. There is a sense of freedom here that's hard to find in other parts of the world. It's a place where time slows down, where the only thing that matters is the present moment. Imagine walking along the sand with a cold pisco sour in hand, feeling the breeze of the Pacific Ocean, while the sun dips low on the horizon. The colors of the sky shift from blue to orange to pink, and the sound of the waves gently laps at the shore. The warm sand feels good underfoot, and the world around you seems to disappear. This is the magic of Chile's beaches, the freedom to simply be, without any of the stresses of everyday life. Whether you're here to relax, to surf, or to explore the coastline's hidden coves, Chile's beaches offer a kind of peace that's hard to find elsewhere. One of the best things about these beaches is how varied they are. Whether you're in the north, where the beaches are known for their warm water and golden sands, or in the south, where you'll find wild, untamed beaches with powerful surf and rocky cliffs. Each part of Chile's coastline has something unique to offer. The diversity of Chile's beaches makes it a perfect destination for every type of traveler. You can have a laid-back beach day on the shores of Viña del Mar, or spend your time exploring the hidden gems and quiet beaches that most people never get to see. Chile's coastlines are also home to a number of islands that are perfect for exploring. The Chiloé Archipelago, located in the south, is a place where traditional wooden churches, colorful houses, and charming villages create a unique atmosphere. The islands are known for their unique culture and the beautiful landscapes that surround them, including pristine beaches that remain largely untouched by tourism. Here you can enjoy the solitude and natural beauty of the coastline, as well as the rich history of the local people. Chile's beaches offer much more than just beautiful scenery. They are a testament to the country's deep connection to the ocean, its rich history, and its commitment to preserving its natural beauty. Whether you are in the famous beach towns of Viña del Mar or exploring the quiet coves of Punta de Lobos, the beaches of Chile invite you to relax, explore, and experience the world at your own pace. They are an escape from the hustle and bustle of daily life, a place to reconnect with nature, and a reminder of the vastness and beauty of the world around us. Why Chile's laws are changing, and what's next. Chile is undergoing a cultural and social transformation. From the recent reforms in family laws to debates about sexual freedom and gender equality, this country is heading into a new era of progressive change. Once known for its conservative traditions, Chile is now challenging old norms, pushing for greater equality, and embracing the idea of more personal freedoms. These shifts are not only changing the laws but are also altering the fabric of society in profound ways. While some are thrilled by the progress, others are deeply concerned about what the future holds, making the conversation about these legal reforms more complex than it first appears. Chile's legal changes over the past few decades have been groundbreaking. The most notable example of this shift is the recent legalization of same-sex civil unions in 2015, followed by the passage of a law legalizing same-sex marriage in 2021. These reforms represent a huge leap forward for LGBTQ+ rights in a country that had long been dominated by Catholic values. Before these changes, same-sex couples in Chile had no legal recognition, leaving them vulnerable in terms of property rights, health care, and inheritance. The approval of same-sex marriage marked a significant milestone in Chile as they push for greater acceptance of diverse sexual orientations and identities. Another significant area of change has been in women's rights. Chile, historically known for its conservative stance on reproductive rights, made a major move in 2017 when it passed a law that decriminalized abortion in certain cases. This was a long-awaited victory for women's rights advocates in the country, as abortion had been illegal for decades, with very few exceptions. The law now allows women to seek abortions in cases of rape, if the pregnancy endangers their life, or if the fetus has severe birth defects. This reform was one of the most controversial in Chilean history, with strong opposition from conservative groups, but it marked a significant step toward recognizing women's autonomy over their bodies. In addition to these changes, Chile has also passed new laws regarding domestic violence, gender equality in the workplace, and the protection of women from harassment and discrimination. For example, in 2019, Chile passed a law that guarantees equal pay for men and women doing the same job. This reform was a critical step in addressing the gender wage gap, a persistent issue in many parts of the world, including Chile. Similarly, efforts have been made to combat violence against women, with stricter penalties for perpetrators of domestic abuse and more support for victims. Despite these positive changes, there are significant challenges to progress. One of the most prominent obstacles to legal reform in Chile is the country's deep-rooted Catholic influence. Catholicism has played a central role in shaping Chile's cultural and social values, and its teachings on morality and family structure have greatly influenced the laws of the land. For many Chileans, especially in rural areas, the idea of reforming laws related to gender, sexuality, and reproductive rights goes against what they've been taught for generations. This resistance to change is not just a matter of law, but of deeply held beliefs about tradition, morality, and the role of religion in everyday life. The Catholic Church remains a powerful institution in Chile, and many of its members continue to oppose reforms on issues like same-sex marriage and abortion. The Church's stance on these matters has made it difficult for some Chileans to embrace these changes, and it has led to heated debates in both the public and political spheres. Religious groups often argue that these reforms threaten the moral fabric of society and that legalizing same-sex marriage or allowing abortion undermines the traditional family structure. For them, these laws represent a dangerous shift away from the values that have kept society stable for centuries. This resistance to change is particularly strong in more conservative areas of the country, where people tend to hold more traditional views on gender and family. In rural communities, where the influence of the Catholic Church is still strong, there is a palpable fear that these legal changes could lead to the breakdown of societal values. Many in these areas feel that the country's laws are moving too quickly, and that the pace of change is threatening the cultural identity that they've worked so hard to preserve. For them, the idea of a society where same-sex marriage is legal and abortion is allowed is a concept that is simply too foreign and unsettling. However, in more urban and progressive areas like Santiago, the capital city, the perspective on these legal changes is vastly different. For many Chileans in these areas, the legal reforms are seen as a sign of progress and a step toward a more inclusive and just society. Santiago, with its diverse population and growing number of social movements, has become a hub for activism and change, with young people leading the charge in advocating for equal rights. In these areas, the reforms are not just welcomed but celebrated as long overdue victories for human rights and social justice. This divide between urban and rural perspectives on the country's legal changes is a reflection of the larger cultural divide in Chile. While Santiago and other major cities have embraced progressive ideals and social change, the more rural areas of the country remain resistant to these shifts. This has led to a polarized debate on many issues, with some Chileans celebrating the country's transformation, while others fear that these changes will erode the traditions and values that they hold dear. Despite these differing opinions, there is one thing that both sides of the debate can agree on. Change is inevitable. Chile is a country in transition, and as more young people join the workforce and become politically active, it is likely that the pace of change will continue to accelerate. The younger generation, in particular, is far more open to new ideas about gender, sexuality, and personal freedom. They are more likely to embrace progressive laws and policies, and they are determined to make their voices heard in the fight for equality. The recent approval of the new constitution in 2022, which included provisions for gender equality and LGBTQ+ rights, is a clear indication of the direction Chile is heading. The new constitution, which replaced the one written during the military dictatorship, is a symbol of the country's commitment to creating a more inclusive and democratic society. It reflects the growing influence of progressive movements and the desire for a more equitable future. However, the new constitution also highlights the ongoing struggles between conservative and progressive forces, as the country continues to debate what kind of society it wants to be. One of the key challenges moving forward will be ensuring that the changes made in the law are actually implemented on the ground. While the legal reforms are important, they mean little if they are not enforced and respected by the wider population. Chile must ensure that its legal changes are reflected in the everyday lives of its citizens, and this will require ongoing education, activism, and political will. It will also require a shift in cultural attitudes, which may take longer than the passage of laws. Chile's journey toward greater social progress is still in its early stages. While the country has made significant strides in areas like gender equality, LGBTQ+ rights, and reproductive freedoms, there are still many challenges ahead. The country is in the midst of a cultural and political transformation, one that is met with both hope and resistance. As Chile moves forward, it will need to navigate the complexities of balancing tradition with progress, and it will require the support of both its progressive and conservative citizens to build a more inclusive society. The journey is far from over, but the changes that have already been made are a testament to Chile's potential to create a more just and equal future for all. The real side of Chile. What they don't show you. Every country has its dark side. Chile's may surprise you. It's not all stunning beaches, progressive laws, and beautiful women. Let us take a hard look at what you want to find in a travel brochure. Behind the glowing images of the country's pristine beaches, high-class cities, and welcoming culture, lies a side of Chile that is rarely seen by outsiders. The truth is, like many other nations, Chile faces a range of societal and economic issues that often go unnoticed in the excitement of tourism and the media spotlight. One of the most pressing challenges Chile faces is the issue of inequality. Chile is one of the most economically developed countries in Latin America, but it also has one of the highest levels of income inequality in the region. Despite the country's robust economy and its growing status as a major player in global trade, a significant portion of the population still struggles to make ends meet. This stark divide between the wealthy and the poor has created a society in which opportunity is not equally available to everyone. In Chile, the upper class enjoys a standard of living comparable to that of some of the richest countries in the world, with access to high-quality education, healthcare, and luxury goods. However, for many Chileans, particularly those in rural areas or from marginalized groups, these opportunities are out of reach. This divide is especially noticeable in the education system. Although Chile boasts a strong academic reputation in certain areas, the country's education system is largely privatized, making it expensive and difficult for many families to afford. Public schools, particularly in lower-income neighborhoods, often struggle with limited resources, outdated facilities, and overcrowded classrooms. As a result, children from wealthier families have access to better education and greater opportunities, while those from poorer backgrounds face more obstacles in their pursuit of higher education. This disparity has a lasting effect on social mobility, ensuring that the gap between the rich and poor remains wide. Economic instability is another issue that affects many Chileans. While the country's economy has been growing for several decades, it is still vulnerable to global market fluctuations. Chile's heavy reliance on exports, particularly copper, which is one of the country's largest industries, means that the economy is susceptible to price changes in global commodity markets. When copper prices drop, for example, Chile's economy takes a hit, and the people who are most affected are often those in lower-income jobs who have little control over these fluctuations. This economic vulnerability can lead to job insecurity and periods of financial hardship for the working class, especially when the government does not provide adequate support for those most in need. The country's reliance on natural resources for economic growth has also led to environmental concerns. While Chile's breathtaking landscapes and rich biodiversity are some of the country's greatest assets, the pressure to exploit these resources for economic gain has led to deforestation, water shortages, and pollution. Mining operations in the north of the country, for example, have caused significant environmental damage, particularly in the Atacama Desert, which is one of the driest places on Earth. Despite the country's focus on sustainability in recent years, the rapid expansion of industries like mining, forestry, and agriculture continues to pose a threat to Chile's environment. While these are significant issues, there is one topic that has been at the forefront of Chilean society for the past few years: social protests. In 2019, Chile saw massive nationwide protests that began over a subway fare hike, but quickly grew into larger demonstrations about the country's inequality, education system, healthcare, and overall living conditions. These protests were a wake-up call for the government, which had been ignoring the growing dissatisfaction among the lower and middle classes. The protests led to significant political change, including the drafting of a new constitution. While this was a victory for many, it also highlighted the deep-seated frustrations felt by many Chileans who believe their voices have been ignored by the political elite. Real-life stories from both locals and expats who have lived in Chile shed light on these issues. I spoke to Clara, a Chilean woman in her late 30s, who grew up in a working-class neighborhood in Santiago. She shared her experience of living in a country where the rich and poor seem to exist in two different worlds. When I was growing up, I saw how different life was for my friends who had money. They could afford private education, travel the world, and live in safe neighborhoods. For us, it was always a struggle. My mom worked 2 jobs, and even then, it was hard to make ends meet. I didn't know if I'd ever be able to afford university, and I knew that my chances were limited because of where I came from. Clara's story reflects the harsh reality for many Chileans who are born into poverty. Although the country has made strides in reducing poverty over the years, inequality remains entrenched, and for many, it feels like there's no way out. Even with the country's economic progress, the fact that the rich continue to get richer while the poor struggle to survive is a serious concern. Clara eventually managed to attend university, but it was only possible because she was fortunate enough to receive a scholarship. For many others, the cost of higher education remains an insurmountable barrier. I also spoke to Mark, an expat from the United States who has lived in Chile for the past 5 years. Mark moved to Chile for work and was initially attracted to the country's beauty, its reputation for economic stability, and its progressive laws. However, over time, he began to see the cracks in the system. When I first moved here, I was excited about the possibilities, but soon enough I realized that despite the surface-level appearances, there are a lot of systemic issues in the country that are being ignored. Inequality is everywhere. People in Santiago might live in modern, high-rise apartments, but just outside the city, you see entire communities living in poverty. It's a real problem that no one likes to talk about. Mark E.'s experience reflects a common theme among expats in Chile. Many are initially impressed by the country's progress, but later realize that beneath the surface, there are significant social issues that are often overlooked. The gap between the rich and poor is not just economic, it's also cultural. The wealthier classes tend to isolate themselves in affluent neighborhoods, while the working-class population continues to live in the outskirts or in slums, cut off from the resources and opportunities that the city's wealthier residents enjoy. The tourism industry, too, plays a role in masking the reality of life for many Chileans. Tourists are often dazzled by the country's picturesque landscapes, its charming coastal towns, and its vibrant cities, but they rarely get to see the full picture. Behind the luxury hotels, the scenic tours, and the wine-tasting experiences, there are many Chileans who are struggling to make a living. Tourism, while an important part of Chile's economy, often fails to address the issues that local communities face, and many Chileans feel that the industry prioritizes foreign interests over the well-being of the people who live in the country. Chile is a country that is full of contrasts. While its stunning beaches, progressive laws, and vibrant culture make it a popular destination for travelers, the reality for many Chileans is far different from what is often shown in travel brochures. Inequality, economic instability, environmental issues, and social unrest are just some of the challenges that Chile faces today. These problems are deeply rooted in the country's history and continue to affect millions of people, despite the progress that has been made in recent years. For those who are willing to look beyond the surface, Chile's real story is one of struggle, resilience, and the ongoing fight for justice and equality. What makes Chile so unique? What truly makes Chile the country it is today? The controversial laws, the allure of its coastlines, or something even more extraordinary? There is no easy answer, because Chile is a country of contrasts, one that combines modernity with tradition, liberal ideals with conservative roots, and stunning natural beauty with social challenges. It's a place where the past and the future are in constant dialogue, shaping a unique identity that sets Chile apart from its neighbors and the rest of the world. To truly understand what makes Chile special, we must explore its political, social, and cultural landscape, as well as its role on the global stage. Chile's position in global affairs is important. Located along the western edge of South America, the country has played a significant role in Latin American politics and economics for many years. One of the key factors behind Chile's success on the world stage is its stable economy, which has made it one of the wealthiest countries in the region. Chile's economy is heavily based on exports, particularly natural resources such as copper, lithium, and agricultural products. The country is the world's largest producer of copper, a mineral that plays a central role in the global economy. This has allowed Chile to become a major player in global trade, with strong economic partnerships with countries around the world, particularly in Asia, Europe, and the United States. However, Chile's economic success is not without its challenges. Despite its wealth, income inequality remains a persistent issue, with a significant portion of the population still living in poverty. The country's economy is heavily reliant on exports, and when global commodity prices drop, Chile's economy feels the impact. This economic vulnerability has sparked ongoing debates about the need for greater diversification and social reforms to ensure that the benefits of Chile's prosperity are shared more evenly across society. In addition to its economic strength, Chile has been an important diplomatic player in Latin America. Over the years, Chile has built strong relationships with its neighbors and has played a key role in regional organizations such as the Union of South American Nations, UNASUR, and the Pacific Alliance. Chile's commitment to democracy and free markets has helped it earn the trust of other countries in the region, and it has often been seen as a stabilizing force in South America. Chile's government has long been a champion of free trade and open markets, advocating for international agreements that promote economic growth and regional cooperation. One of the most significant political developments in Chile in recent years has been its push for greater environmental responsibility. As one of the world's largest producers of copper and lithium, both of which are essential for renewable energy technologies like electric vehicles and solar panels, Chile is uniquely positioned to be a leader in the transition to a greener future. In fact, the country has set ambitious goals for renewable energy, aiming to generate 70% of its electricity from renewable sources by 2050. Chile's efforts to combat climate change are part of a broader regional trend in Latin America, where countries are increasingly prioritizing sustainability and environmental protection in their political agendas. Chile's commitment to sustainability extends beyond just energy. The country has also made significant strides in protecting its biodiversity and natural landscapes. From the high-altitude deserts of the north to the lush forests and fjords of the south, Chile is home to some of the most diverse ecosystems in the world. In recent years, the government has made efforts to expand its network of protected areas, including national parks and marine reserves, to preserve these precious environments for future generations. These efforts are particularly important given the pressures that climate change, deforestation, and industrial development have placed on Chile's natural resources. Socially, Chile is a country in transition. The country has made significant progress in terms of social equality, particularly in areas like gender rights and LGBTQ+ recognition. In recent years, Chile has made strides toward becoming a more inclusive and progressive society. The legalization of same-sex marriage in 2021 was a major victory for LGBTQ+ rights advocates, and the country's ongoing work to combat gender-based violence and discrimination has garnered international praise. However, the road to equality has been long and difficult, and there are still many challenges that remain. In 2019, Chile experienced massive protests that were sparked by a subway fare hike but quickly grew into a broader movement for social justice and equality. The protests were fueled by frustrations over income inequality, poor access to education and health care, and the high cost of living. These protests were a turning point for Chile as they led to the drafting of a new constitution, replacing the one that was written during the dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet. The process of drafting the new constitution was a historic moment for Chile, as it represented a shift toward a more inclusive and participatory political system. The drafting of the Constitution was also a sign that Chileans were ready to confront the deep-rooted issues of inequality and social injustice that had plagued the country for decades. However, the protests also highlighted the deep divisions within Chilean society. While many Chileans embraced the calls for change, others feared that the country's economic and social stability would be threatened by the rapid pace of reform. The debates surrounding the new constitution revealed the tension between those who want to preserve Chile's traditional values and those who see progressive change as essential for the country's future. This divide reflects the broader struggles in Chile's society, where modernity and tradition often clash, creating an environment of uncertainty and debate. Culturally, Chile is a unique mix of indigenous heritage, European influence, and modern globalism. The country's indigenous populations, including the Mapuche, Aymara, and Rapa Nui peoples, have had a profound impact on Chilean culture. Their traditions, languages, and art forms continue to be an integral part of the national identity. At the same time, Chile's history of European colonization, primarily by the Spanish, has left a lasting imprint on the country's language, architecture, and social norms. This blend of indigenous and European influences gives Chile a cultural richness that is reflected in its music, food, festivals, and everyday life. One of the most iconic aspects of Chilean culture is its food, which blends indigenous ingredients with European flavors. Chilean cuisine is known for its fresh seafood, particularly its fish, shellfish, and seaweed, as well as its hearty meat dishes. One of the most beloved dishes in Chile is the asado, or barbecue, which is often served at family gatherings and celebrations. Chile is also famous for its wine, which is among the best in the world. The country's climate and geography make it ideal for growing grapes, and Chilean wines have gained international recognition for their quality and diversity. Chile's position in global pop culture has also been growing in recent years. With its breathtaking landscapes, vibrant cities, and rich history, Chile has become a popular destination for tourists from around the world. The country's unique geography, which spans from the deserts of the north to the icy glaciers of the south, has made it a sought-after location for adventure tourism, particularly for hiking, trekking, and exploring remote wilderness areas. Chile's wine regions, such as the Maipo Valley and the Casablanca Valley, have also become major attractions for wine enthusiasts. Additionally, Chile's thriving arts scene, including its film, music, and literature, has contributed to its growing international recognition. Chile's international relationships are an important part of its global standing. As a member of organizations such as the United Nations, the World Trade Organization, and the Pacific Alliance, Chile plays a significant role in shaping regional and global policies. The country's strong relationships with its neighbors, particularly Argentina, Brazil, and Peru, have helped foster regional stability and cooperation. Chile's growing influence in international trade and its commitment to sustainable development have also made it an important player in the global arena. What makes Chile unique is its blend of progress and tradition, its rich cultural heritage, and its growing influence on the global stage. From its role in international trade to its progressive legal reforms, Chile is a country in the midst of transformation. Its stunning landscapes, diverse culture, and rich history make it an exceptional place, one that is becoming increasingly important in Latin America and the world. Chile may be a country that is still grappling with its past, but it is also one that is boldly shaping its future. As it continues to navigate the challenges of modernization and globalization, Chile will undoubtedly remain a key player on the global stage, offering a unique blend of old and new, tradition and progress that makes it stand out in the world today. So, after everything we've covered today, you might be wondering, is Chile really a place for you? Can you handle the controversy, the stunning women, and the laws that will make you question everything you knew about freedom? The truth is, Chile is not just a destination. It's an experience. It's a country that packs both beauty and complexity into every corner. From its breathtaking coastlines to its dynamic culture, from its stunning women to the controversial laws that have shaped society for decades, Chile will challenge the way you think about freedom, tradition, and what it means to be a part of a changing world. Chile isn't just a place you visit, it's a place that stays with you long after you leave. The country's rich history, vibrant cities, and wide-open spaces are captivating. But it's the contradictions and the conversations that take place within the country that make it truly fascinating. As we've explored in this documentary, Chile is a place where modernity clashes with tradition, where stunning landscapes coexist with the struggles of inequality and change, and where laws that once defined the country are now being rewritten to fit a more progressive vision for the future. From the coastal beaches of Viña del Mar to the secret beauty of Punta de Lobos, Chile offers so much more than meets the eye. The natural beauty is undeniable, but it's the story of the people, their struggles, and their resilience that truly define this country. Whether it's the bold strides made in gender equality or the ongoing debates surrounding personal freedoms, Chile is a country that is constantly evolving, and its people are determined to shape a future that reflects both their heritage and their hopes for tomorrow. The journey of understanding Chile is not an easy one. It's a country that can feel overwhelming at times, filled with complexities that may make you question your own assumptions. Chile is at the intersection of old and new, conservative and progressive, and it is this balance that makes it unique. As we've seen, the country's laws have undergone significant changes in recent years, opening the doors to greater equality and freedoms for many of its citizens. But these changes have not come without resistance. Many Chileans are deeply connected to the country's traditions, and for some, the pace of reform is unsettling. They fear that the country's cultural identity is at risk, and that the values they have known for generations are being eroded in the name of progress. However, despite these challenges, there is a palpable sense of optimism in Chile. The younger generation is leading the charge for a more inclusive society, one that embraces the diversity of its people and provides greater opportunities for all. Whether it's through the decriminalization of abortion, the legalization of same-sex marriage, or the ongoing fight for gender equality, Chile is breaking down barriers and moving towards a future that is more just and equal. But these changes are not without their growing pains. As the country evolves, it continues to grapple with the tension between old and new, with the pace of change often outstripping the willingness of some segments of society to keep up. But here's the thing. Chile isn't just a country that is moving forward. It's also one that is rooted in its past. The struggles that Chile has faced throughout its history, from the Pinochet dictatorship to the recent social protests, have shaped the country in profound ways. These experiences have fostered a unique national identity, one that is built on resilience, hope, and a deep connection to the land and people. It's a country that knows how to endure and adapt no matter what challenges it faces. And that's what makes Chile so compelling. When it comes to living in Chile, the country presents both opportunities and obstacles. The cost of living is relatively high, particularly in cities like Santiago, where housing prices have surged in recent years. While Chile boasts a stable economy and a high standard of living, there are still significant challenges for those in lower income brackets, particularly in rural areas. The gap between the rich and the poor remains one of Chile's most pressing issues, and it's something that the country continues to grapple with as it moves toward greater equality. The natural beauty of Chile cannot be overstated. From the arid deserts in the north to the icy glaciers of the south, the country offers some of the most diverse landscapes in the world. Chile is a dream for outdoor enthusiasts, with countless hiking trails, national parks, and pristine beaches waiting to be explored. For many visitors, the country's coastlines are a major draw. With stunning beaches like Punta de Lobos, where the sand meets the dramatic cliffs of the Pacific Ocean, and the vibrant cities that dot the coast, Chile's beaches are among the best in the world. Whether you're into surfing, sunbathing, or simply enjoying the beauty of the sea, there's a beach for everyone in Chile. But it's not just the natural beauty that makes Chile special, it's the people. Chileans are proud of their country, and they're passionate about their culture. From the lively celebrations of Fiesta Patrias, Chile's national day, to the local markets where you can sample traditional foods and wines, Chile is a place where people connect with each other and their roots. The warmth and hospitality of Chileans is something that visitors often remark on. Even though the country is undergoing rapid changes, the sense of community and the importance of family remain strong. So, what's the real question here? Would you dare to live in a country like this? Chile is complex, beautiful yet challenging, modern yet traditional, and with much more to offer than the average tourist might see. But it's also a country that has a lot to offer those who are willing to look beyond the surface. Whether you're drawn to its stunning beaches, its rich cultural history, or its vibrant cities, Chile has something for everyone. But living in Chile means facing the contradictions head-on, the inequality, the resistance to change, and the challenges of balancing progress with tradition. If you're looking for a place that will make you think, challenge your assumptions, and expose you to a different way of life, then Chile may just be the place for you. It's a country in transition, a country that's constantly evolving, and one that is full of surprises. From the highs of political and social progress to the lows of economic inequality and social unrest, Chile is a country that never fails to keep you on your toes. But that's what makes it so intriguing. The truth is, Chile is a country that will stay with you long after you leave. It's a place that will challenge your ideas, broaden your horizons, and maybe even change the way you see the world. And so, next time you're planning a getaway, maybe it's time to consider Chile. But here's the real question. Would you dare to live in a country like this? Comment below, let me know your thoughts, and maybe your favorite beach spot in Chile. I'd love to hear what you think about this country's laws and lifestyle. And, hey, don't forget to share if you want to see more travel documentaries like this one. Until next time, stay curious.